Lindell TV is pleased to present the Sentinel Report with your host, Alex Newman. Alex has written for a wide array of publications in the United States and abroad. He currently serves as a contributor to Epoch Times and foreign correspondent and senior editor for the New American magazine. Alex is the author of several books and has been a guest on countless radio and television programs and is a much sought-after conference speaker. Alex is best known for his reporting and research that has exposed the dangers and agenda of globalism. As the father of 5 children, Alex is working to defend faith, family, and freedoms from the hostile philosophies and ideas that are contrary to the Bible and the United States Constitution. And now, here is your host, Alex Newman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sentinel Report. It's so great to have you with us today on this beautiful day. And we actually have 2 very special guests in studio with us today. So we're not going to be doing most of our news segment today. I'll be picking back up with that tomorrow. But what an honor. We have 2 incredible young people here. I think you're going to be really blessed. We were off the air most of last week because our production team was at CPAC. But it's great to be back live with you. And I tell you, you're going to love these guests. We're just going to really cut our news segment short. Just a couple of urgent things. We'll go to break, and then we'll bring back these 2 incredible young people that really give me hope for the future of our country. I think you'll feel the same after we're done. So stay tuned right there. Some of the big news, folks, that we cannot push to tomorrow. We have the revived Build Back Better abomination coming back. It was just passed through the U.S. Senate, no thanks to the Republicans, although they did not use very many tools at their disposal. But folks, some of the things in here are mind-blowing. It's not quite the $3.5 trillion abomination that they were working on last time when Manchin scuttled it, but it's almost as bad. It actually has the same bill number. 755 pages of garbage, folks, misleadingly called the Inflation Reduction Act. Thomas Massie, congressman from Kentucky, had some really hilarious comments. He said the same people that are telling you that spending your money is going to reduce inflation are the same people telling you that we can reduce your standard of living and control the temperature of the planet. Yeah, I don't believe them either. But folks, some of the stuff in this abominable bill, I just want to read some of this to you. $369 billion in climate change programs, $64 billion to extend the Obamacare subsidies, raising fee rates on energy production, just what we need when we're paying out the nose for gasoline, raising taxes on small and medium-sized businesses. And this one, folks, I feel like I'm in a bad dream, and yet I know I'm not, folks. Get this, $80 billion in additional funding for the Internal Revenue Service. So coming soon to a theater near you, 87,000 new IRS agents, many of them armed with those same weapons of war that are not safe in the hands of citizens, coming soon to harass our people and eat of their substance, as the Founding Fathers famously put it in the Declaration of Independence. Folks, this is incredible. Also, we have massive new subsidies for rich people so that they can buy fancy schmancy electric cars, because that's going to help us reduce inflation somehow. Folks, this is really unbelievable. The IRS is about to be one of the largest agencies of government. And don't think we forgot about the use of the IRS, the weaponization of the IRS to persecute conservatives. We remember it all very well. Also, folks, the verdict against Alex Jones, he's now on the hook for $50 million, and I think this is a direct attack on everybody's free speech. Alex Jones said he was wrong. He said he made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Full disclosure, I know Alex. I've been on his show many times, and I think this is a shot across the bow. If they can't put you in jail, they will bankrupt you. Absolutely crazy, folks. Also, coming up, I'll give you more details on this tomorrow. I've got a big article coming out about it, but 19 state attorneys general are now going to war with BlackRock. They're tired of the company pushing its woke policies on companies pursuing the dangerous climate agenda. So I've talked to some of those individuals involved in this. I actually spent some time on the phone today with the Attorney General of Montana. So I'll bring you some more details on that tomorrow, folks. But it's big. This will be an article for the Epoch Times coming out very soon. And, of course, the moneypox propaganda is going into absolute hyperdrive. And, yes, it is moneypox. The K is silent, kind of like in knife or no. Just kidding. But, no, folks, these people are serious. We've got Biden now has declared an emergency. Multiple Democrat state governors have declared an emergency. And, of course, the World Health Organization has declared a global emergency. So yeah, folks, this is not good. And again, we have a lot of other news. Again, we missed you for the last few days. So we got a lot of other news, but we'll pick back up on that tomorrow. Before we go to break, I want to remind you folks, the entire world is already experiencing food shortages. They may not be in your town yet, although you probably see some of those empty shelves. But if you live in Yemen, if you live in Somalia, if you live in lots of different places in the world, you are experiencing it already. Also, folks, we've got supply chain breakdowns having a domino effect on everything, including food production. We've got farmers who can't plant as many crops as they usually do because they can't get fertilizer. We've got regulations bankrupting them, and we've got high fuel prices that are just killing our farmers. And this is going to make these food shortages even worse, folks. It's going to get worse. It is almost guaranteed. Food takes time to grow, obviously. So when farmers don't plant, obviously months later, there's nothing to harvest. That means there's nothing to eat. So I think the best way to get ready is to invest in some emergency food, and you can get them from My Patriot Supply. If you go to preparewithsentinel.com, you see it up on the screen right now, preparewithsentinel.com. It is a great way to prepare your family for whatever may be coming. It's also a nice hedge against inflation, skyrocketing prices, and so much more. And also, folks, if you go now, you'll save $50 on a 4-week food kit from My Patriot Supply, or $150 if you get a 3-month supply. Again, that's preparewithsentinel.com. Get your $50 savings on a 4-week emergency kit, or a $150 savings on a 3-month kit. Again, that's preparewithsentinel.com, folks. Those who know what's coming are getting prepared now, shouldn't you? We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors with our incredible guest. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Coffee. I get products all the time from entrepreneurs for my new platform, mystore.com. And when I tried My Coffee for the first time, I was blown away. It is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. I spent the last 4 months doing my due diligence, and this family-owned business micromanages every step from the fields to the cup to ensure the best quality coffee you're ever going to have. It starts with the beans that are grown in Honduras. Honduras's volcanic soil and humid climate make the perfect growing conditions for coffee plants, which produce the best beans ever. Then each batch is tested for its aroma, taste, and other aspects to meet the highest standards in the coffee industry. And after that, it goes into production, which is all done right here in the USA. It's like you're getting that small batch specialty coffee, but delivered right to your front door. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code and you'll get your very own My Coffee for 25% off. You guys all know that I've traveled the country for the past year and a half. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels. I've tried every coffee out there. Well, some of the coffees have that terrible aftertaste, some that leave me jittery, or I get an upset stomach. Well, My Coffee is different. It's the richest, smoothest, best coffee I've ever had. My Coffee comes in a variety of flavors. You get them ground or whole bean, plus it's certified organic and non-GMO. I guarantee it'll be the best coffee you've ever had. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get My Coffee for 25% off. And I'm going to give you deep discounts on all my store products. That's mystore.com. It's my new platform for USA entrepreneurs. Please order now.
Are you concerned about your child's education? Have you considered looking into alternatives to public school but don't know where to start? Greater Than I Ministries will give you the tools you need with a free Home Educators Kit and 15% off our Thinking Like a Christian Biblical Worldview video series. Available on DVD or streamed to your home or device, this series will thoroughly equip you and your family with the truth you need about the battle of ideas being waged against our families and our nation. And our free Home Educators Kit will provide you with links directly connecting you with all the resources you need if you're considering rescuing your children from the public indoctrination schools. Go to gtimin.com and click the green banner at the top to receive your free Home Educators Kit and 15% off our Thinking Like a Christian Worldview video series. Again, that's gtimin.com and click the green banner at the top. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to the Sentinel Report, folks, with your host, Alex Newman. That's, of course, me. And I told you we had some very special young people in studio today. I actually forgot that today was the day they were coming in studio, or we would have been in my other slightly larger studio. But folks, this is a real treat. It's a real honor for you guys to hear from them. To my right is Megan Wallington. She is the new chair of the Florida Federation of Teenage Republicans. It is an incredible group of young people. They are just doing so much here in the state of Florida to protect our liberty, to protect our republic, and really to get young people involved in something that matters, right? It's not just the celebrity stuff and the TikTok stuff. This is stuff of real value. And then over there, one more over is Iago Barbosa. He is he's the outgoing chair of the Florida Federation of Teenage Republicans, and he is also the junior advisor for the organization. He's from Brazil, and when I first met him, I just was astounded at this guy. He loves America, and he understands America more than, I'd say 99.9% of native-born Americans. And I'll tell you, when I hear these young people speak, it brings joy to my heart, and it gives me hope that maybe all is not lost. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Iago, let's start with you. You're from another country. You have lived through some of the disasters that big government has caused. Because I used to live in Brazil, and I'm very familiar with the Workers' Party, which is really a communist party. And so you came to America, and obviously you fell in love with your new country. Tell us, why do you love America, and what is wrong with so many Americans that don't realize what we have here?
First of all, I think what made me fall in love with America is the government principles, and to understand that the freedoms that we have here in the United States, they are not freedoms that the government gives to us. If we actually understand what our founding fathers intend for America from the beginning, from the starting point, our freedoms never come simply from the Constitution. Our freedoms comes from God. It is our God-given rights that are protected by the Constitution. So that's what made me fall in love with America and the American Constitution, because we know that our rights are protected by the Constitution, but are given actually by God. So no government authority can trump those rights.
Yep. And that's exactly what our founding fathers said over and over and over again. And yet, for some reason today, you won't find 1 in 100 Americans who understands that. So, Megan, you're now picking up where Iago left off. And I've known you for some time. You actually are the vice chair of the Volusia County Teenage TARS, which year after year after year has been consistently awarded the best TARS chapter in the country. So you guys are obviously doing something incredible. Megan, why are you involved as a young person? So many of the other kids, like at the schools and everything, they're following celebrities. They're 100% wrapped up in the sports culture. Not that there's anything wrong with sports, but you decided to actually get involved in politics. And tell us why, and how do you think other parents out there and grandparents can get their young people, their kids, their grandkids involved?
Absolutely. So just like what you were saying, Mr. Newman, it's incredible. So many people these days, not only teenagers, but also young adults, they're getting so passionate and so involved with a certain celebrity or a sports team. But the thing is, like you said, there's nothing wrong with that, but it has no impact on their lives, whereas politics actually does. Now, politics, depending on where they go, dictates how everybody in America's life will go. Not everybody in America, everybody in the world's life will go, which is why it's so important to get not only teenagers, but also young adults involved in politics. Now, one way that parents, grandparents can get their kids involved is simply by looking for their local TARS, or looking for their local Republican, or even any politic group, and just getting involved, just showing up and trying to learn something and making an impact on our country.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And folks, that's critical. I mean, if you've been a regular viewer of this show, you know that my view is that our country is in some very, very serious trouble, and we've got to find ways to get more young people involved. I have another question for you guys. The indoctrination and the media is just so hardcore to the left, toward the Democrat Party, and yet somehow you guys slipped through the cracks and you ended up conservative and you love liberty. I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think from my end, it was a little bit easier for me to, to fall in love, with liberties. And I came from a, socialist country, Lula da Silva, which was the former president of Brazil in the Workers' Party, literally destroyed our nation, investing money on foreign nations like dictatorships like Venezuela, Cuba, and not prioritizing the Brazilian people. So when I came to America and I saw all those people saying, oh, Trump was a racist, Trump didn't like immigrants and things like that, but he said that we were going to put America first and invest in money in America and invest for the good of America. I was like, hey, that's something up there, you know? What Joe Biden and the Democratic Party is trying to do is not prioritize America and prioritize other countries, just like Lula used to do in Brazil. And I was like, hey, that's something up there. And as a Christian, when we understand that our values comes from God and that God is the one that reigns and God is the one that orchestrates the moral compass, there's no conservatism without a transcendent value. And I saw, hey, I'm going to follow, conservatism. I'm going to follow my principles that God has written in our hearts, because it's much better, just like Peter used to say, it's much better to please God than man. So
amen. Yeah, Acts 5:29. Who are you going to obey, God or the government or men, right? Critical thing for people to understand. Megan, talk a little bit about some of the things you guys do. There was just a TARS meeting, a Teenage Republicans meeting. Was it? Yes, it was yesterday, and that was fascinating. Talk a little bit to the folks out there. What do teenagers who are active in the Teenage Republicans actually do?
Well, the Teenage Republicans is not only more of an educational group, but you can also get service hours. For the educational side, you learn more about Republican candidates, you learn more about the process that they go through, what their beliefs are, and then you can apply that to your personal philosophy, your personal political philosophy. Now, going to the volunteer side, you can also volunteer on these candidates' platforms. You can volunteer, help them with door knocking, sign waving, anything. So not only do you get education out of it, you also get experience and hours with candidates. So that's basically what TARS do. And not only that, but we also have a very strong family bond. We've always been like that with all of our chapters, each individual chapter, as well as the state board. We're all somehow connected, and that's thanks to TARS.
Yep. Yeah, it truly is amazing. And I want to ask, too, both of you, I want to get your thoughts on this, because we keep hearing from some of the Republican establishment that, the party has to become more liberal to become a bigger tent. We have to embrace some of the things that Democrats want, like big government and all these things. And yet, in my experience with TARS, I've been a speaker at some of y'all's state conventions, and I've been a little bit involved from a distance just because of my children with the local TARS. And these kids, I mean, they are super liberty-minded. They're really conservative. They're not going along with the Republican establishment agenda. Are these establishment leaders right that the party needs to go in a more liberal Democrat Party direction to bring young people in?
No way. No way, they are not right. And the reason why they are not right is because what the left does, and most establishment Republicans don't understand, is that they tell you, oh, you have to mold yourself according to the world. Oh, you have to be accepted. So you have to mold the way you think. You have to give up your liberties so you can be accepted to a certain group. But that's not what really our founding fathers intended, because our founding father says that just like limited government doesn't work without transcendent values. So it's not about just like limiting government, and it's not about making government larger so we can be accepted, so we can call more teenagers in. What needs to happen is actually we have to regain and gain back and cultivate again our founding values of this nation again. The scripture says that my people perish because of lack of understanding. So if we don't understand where we are being attacked from, if we don't understand the ideology that we are being attacked from, just ignoring God, ignoring his principles, unfortunately, what I'm seeing is that we're looking much more, our generation is looking much more to the French Revolution than to our founding fathers, to be honest, because we see just church and God as an institution and just let government control your lives. And we are not actually standing up for what is right and saying, hey, this is something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's a terrifying thought, but I think you just hit the nail on the head, Iago. The American and the French Revolution, similar time period, but just completely different on one aspect, right? One was trying to drive God and morality out. The other embraced it. And we saw the results. France became a bloodbath with beheadings everywhere. I mean, one of the worst atrocities the world has ever seen. And then America became a powerhouse, a great nation that has done so much for the world. Megan, what do you think? Does the Republican Party need to become more liberal to attract young people?
Absolutely not. I think when it comes to young people, it's so easy these days, especially when it comes to government schools. It's so easy to give in to those democratic and liberal and woke views. It's so easy. I see it myself in my school. I've had teachers come up to me and kids that I know and ask, "Do you feel like a boy today, or do you feel like a girl today?" It is so easy because it gives them the option. It's so easy to give into it. But what you have to do is you have to stick to that personal philosophy. I mean, ever since I was younger and I didn't even know what politics was, I would think, like, for example, my brother made a mess and my mom would have me clean it up with him. Why should I do that? My brother's the one that made the mess. It's kind of similar with taxes. Why should my parents pay taxes to send another kid to a government indoctrination school? It's not right. So kids, they really have to stay strong and be supported, or they have to be around supportive people such as TARS to keep that personal philosophy and not give in to what our government is trying to make us into.
Yeah, it's brilliant from you guys. And that's it. Now I think you guys are understanding why I said these young people give me hope for the future. And these are not just any young people. Again, they are leaders. They are the top of the Florida Federation of Teenage Republicans, leading a wonderful network of young people all across this state. And I'll tell you, just from my experience with them, it's truly amazing what they are doing. Guys, I ask a lot of my guests this question, regardless of where they are, who they are, the future. Right? There's kind of conflicting views. You know, there's the school of thought that America's done for, it's doomed, we've gone too far. I mean, just, get ready because the collapse is coming. And then there's the more hopeful view that, no, we're going to put a stop to the madness. We're going to restore our country, and we're going to go back to our founding principles and not only live to fight another day, but really make America great again. Megan, let's start with you. What do you think? What does the future look like for our country?
My personal view for the future, I think that if people really start building on their personal philosophies, if they start really standing up to save our country, then I believe that we do have a very bright future. But in order to do that, we have to take away government control. We have to get government out of our schools, and we have to get more kids and more young adults involved in what they believe in and stop them from giving in, because it's, like I said before, it's so easy to give in now because you have so many options. And people, I don't want to say it's ignorance, but it's kind of ignorance.
Yeah.
They think it's just the easier way out. But no, you have to fight for what our country was formed for. You have to fight for what is right. Not give in to what the government wants you to give into. So.
And what do you think, Iago? You've seen, the mess that has become of Latin America, and that hurts me personally as somebody who grew up in Latin America. But you've seen the consequences of this, and you've seen the trajectory. Is it too late for America, or can we still turn this around?
We can definitely still turn this around. What we cannot let happen in America is this indoctrination in their schools. We need to rebuild this country from the bottom up. And when I say this from the bottom up, is that we talk about too much small government, but we focus too much in just federal elections. We focus too much just in 2024, and we don't really paying attention on school board races, which is crucial, I believe, for us to cultivate and gain back, the values and principles of this nation. Like, for example, when we speak against, for example, celebrities that are they have a large influence in their teenagers. People say, why you are picking, for example, in Demi Lovato, that one day she thinks that she's binary, then she says, no, I'm not binary anymore, don't call me female pronouns anymore. So why do you pick up too much on her? And the answer is really simple, because I can never underestimate my enemy. I can never underestimate what the left is trying to do with our kids, because they have a larger influence. Because when kids turn on the TV, when kids turn on to Netflix, all they see, they are like a sponge, and they grab whatever is going in front of their eyes, and they do that because that's just how the human mind works. But when we cultivate those values again, and when we speak against, those indoctrinations, there's definitely hope for our generation. We just have to understand that there's no conservatism without transcendent values. There's no transcendent values without conservatism. And we have to stand up and say that Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life. And let's not apologize for standing up for what is right, for what has worked and will always work,
Yeah, amen. I mean, it's so much wisdom from these young people, folks. I told you, it really gives me hope for the future. And I want to ask you guys, you're both leaders, obviously. What can you say about leadership, and how can parents, obviously there's probably not a lot of people your age watching my show. It's mostly, parents and even grandparents generation, but how can they help their young people, the kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces, to develop into men and women of character, and also into leaders who can then not just follow, not just go along with the flow, but really stand up and accomplish something meaningful in life? Go ahead, Megan.
Well, that's a difficult one. I would say that when it comes to forming these leaders and trying to make a difference with your kids, your grandkids, if you see that leadership potential and if you see their passion for this is wrong and this is right when they're seeing the news or something like that, try to get them involved with clubs, if not starting up their own. TARS is always open to forming new chapters. If not, you can join your own chapter and just try to reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, post things on internet because everybody's on the internet nowadays.
It's true.
Guilty.
Right. Well, here we are on the internet, right?
Yeah. So that's just the best way to do things. Just go out and start doing something and then go with the flow. People will come to you. You'll be invited to things like the Alex Newman show. You'll be invited to these Republican meetings. You'll be invited to maybe even TARS. TARS will notice you, and then you'll get a larger growing. All you have to do is take that first step.
Go ahead, Iago.
What I think is really important for us to do with our teenagers and with our kids at home is first to understand that everything is base work. Everything starts from home. There's this really phrase that I think is true, but it was used by an evil guy called José Dirceu. He was the president of the Workers' Party in Brazil. He was like, let's build a generation, let's indoctrinate our kids in a bad way, in an evil way, in a socialistic way from the bottom up. So when I talk about cultivating, again, American principles and transcendent values and American transcendent values and godly values, saying that we need Judeo-Christian values and we should not apologize for that, what I'm saying is that why does the left, when someone that is born in a Christian household and he just goes to church on Sundays, right? Because that became an American thing. We have treated churches like institution, and we don't actually take up and lift up the flag of the gospel and say we are going to, wage war against those evil ideologies. So when our kids and teenagers go to universities, for example, they see their professors speaking with so much passion about Marxism and Gramsci and the left, those people that indoctrinate kids, they know their stuff. Professors, they speak with so much passion about Che Guevara, and I saw that in Latin America, they speak with passion. And when we come to church, when we grow up in a Christian household, what we see is that we don't teach our kids that much about the church history. We don't teach our kids about, for example, our founding fathers anymore, what they hold on to, and especially in biblical values. All we know is into the Apostle John, and we know that the last book of the Bible is the book of Revelations. But what about important people that molded the Western civilization, like Thomas Aquinas, like St. Augustine, all those great people of God? We have to cultivate those values again. And just a little note to the leftists that might be watching us right now. If you guys talk so much about human rights, well, just wanted to let you guys know that there were no human rights before the Protestant Reformation. So when we talk about human rights and you say, you're infringing my human rights, but you don't respect scriptures, you don't respect God, well, your human rights comes from God, because the Protestant Reformation understood that you were created in God's image.
Amazing, amazing, guys. We've only got a couple of minutes left, and boy, does the time always fly, especially with incredible guests like this. But where can people find more? You guys have a website, and we're down to 1 minute now. But folks, I want to tell you just a little bit about what these young people do. I mean, they put together these events, they bring together candidates, and I don't even know if these young people realize what an impact they have. But when they talk, elected officials listen. I'll tell you, the local TARs here, all these teenagers, they're involved in political campaigns. You know, these state legislators, these congressmen, they would kill to have kids like this going to knock doors and stuff for them. So get the kids involved. It's incredibly significant. But guys, what's the best way to find more? Tell us the website and how can people get in touch?
FL TARS, FLTeenageRepublicans.com. This is our website, guys. So get in touch with us as well on Instagram, Florida.tars. And yeah, go find us online and be in touch with us.
Excellent. Well, Iago Barbosa and Megan Wallington, thank you guys so much for coming out here. I know some of you drove a long way to get here. Thank you so much for being here. It's really been an incredible honor to be able to speak with you. Folks, if you've got children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, send them this clip, send them this video, get them over to the website. Even if you're not in Florida, there's TARs across the country. Get them involved, folks. It's critical. If we're going to save our country, we've got to bring up the next generation with an understanding of this and develop them into leaders. I mean, these are the kids that are going to lead the party in the future. These are the kids that are going to restore our nation. So, folks, get your young people involved. We are all out of time. I am Alex Newman. This is the Sentinel Report. Coming up next, if you're watching us live, is Roger Stone with the Stone Zone. So stay tuned. If you're watching us on a replay or another network, stay tuned because I'm sure whatever's coming next is going to be great. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, God bless you all.
Hello, everyone.